Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots Podcast. I am your host, Charles Long, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Jake Gloth. How are you doing today, Jake?
I'm doing all right. How about you, Charles?
I'm doing pretty good. I did a little bit of drinking last night, but I'm not hungover, which is new feeling for me, and I'm happy about it.
Well, aren't you just a special boy? I'm so
I hate getting hangovers. They're the fucking worst.
There's like some stat. I think it's like 15% of people. Maybe it's less than that, or more. Don't get hangovers.
Yeah, I know. The most infuriating part of the population.
But I wonder what it does to them then, right? Like, where do those chemicals go?
In your pee.
So they're like evolved from us, you know, like
yeah.
Evolution. They're the better human because they can.
They have the X gene.
Yeah.
They're recruited by Charles Xavier, School for Gifted Drunks.
Nice.
All right. Well, I have been teasing this pitch for quite a while. By teasing, I mean I mentioned the title once before, like
4 or 5 episodes ago.
Yeah, a while ago. And the pitch is Falling Up, which is about a crew of people on. Can you guess?
Spaceship
that can travel through time.
Spaceship.
It is, because spaceships are great. It's like a boat, but it's in space.
Okay.
You know, you can go anywhere. It's like Gulliver's Travels is the first, travel science fiction novel, right? Because it's basically.
I don't need you to define a spaceship for me. I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, the viewers might be.
They don't know what a spaceship is.
Yeah, our large Amish.
Well, then we probably would have wanted to explain it earlier, because we've had quite a few space shows.
Yeah. Well, this spaceship is fucking out. This spaceship is unique in one specific way, in that it can travel forward in time, not backwards in time, only forward in time. It's a small jump ship that can only travel forwards in time, which I think adds a lot more interesting elements to it. To a space show, and you don't get caught up in any of that like tomfoolery of like, oh, you go back in time and you're your own grandfather or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Continuity is not nearly as important if you don't travel back and forth because as a former Doctor Who fan, goddamn is it annoying.
Yeah, they fucked up a lot of things.
They do that all the time. Remember the time that the moon was an egg, and then it cracked, and then the monster that was in the moon laid another egg, and that was the new moon? Remember that?
Some dumb shit. For a show that like has vaguely scientific qualities, that was just weird as hell.
Yeah, if you just describe an episode of Doctor Who, people will be like, that is the dumbest shit in the universe.
Yeah.
Remember the rhinos in space on the moon when there were space rhinos? The moon that was an egg, but they were on a hospital, and then there were space cop rhinos. Remember that?
I do remember that. It's like every episode is just completely insane. Some of them are pretty good, though.
Yeah. I agree. This ship is crewed by 3 people, and it's the size of like maybe a van.
Oh, so it's not really small.
It's not a big ship. It's enough space for them to cook, sleep, and bathroom times. Use the restroom.
Okay.
So
it's like an RV, maybe.
Yeah, but not like a big RV, like a shitty RV.
Got it.
So our first person, in quotes, who lives on the ship is Dr. Pav. His name is Dr. Pav.
Dr. Pav. I like that.
Yeah. He's a dog with a human brain of a scientist whose body was dying. He invented the time machine, but his body is in a dog. Like, his brain is in a dog's body. And it's not like a super robot dog that has, like...
Oh, it's just a normal dog.
It's just a dog. So he has to recruit these other two bugalugs to help him. He's like this mad scientist. I'm imagining him as being like kind of like a Dr. Frankenstein-esque crazed lunatic.
Yeah, I got you.
And he was like, my body's decaying from some horrible illness, so the only thing I can do is put my brain in a dog.
Is it a big dog? Small dog? What kind of dog is it?
I always imagine German Shepherd, but that's always just because of Fallout. So I think maybe it could be funny if you put like a human brain just like stuffed it inside of a chihuahua, and so his head's just really
Yeah,
big.
it's a
and
little
he's, like,
bigger than normal. That's what I was thinking. That's nice.
Yeah, he's just like flat. His neck barely works. It's great. Our second character, I forgot about his name when we named the Isaac Asimov.
Oh no.
So his name is Isaac, or no, Isaac Illich. Our character, Isaac, is a robotic con man.
Wait. This man's name is Isaac Illich?
This man's name is Isaac. He doesn't
Okay,
have
no
a
last name. Got it. All right. I mean,
Just
that's
saying
fine.
it's
You didn't have to make the connection between the two. Between
Well,
Isaac Illich.
I took the name Isaac for Isaac Illich from Isaac Asimov, a famous sci-fi writer from Russia,
Yeah, I know that.
and I
You said
took the name Isaac for this guy from that same writer because he follows the 3 laws of robotics. You know, let me pull them up real quick because I don't remember.
You don't remember them? Wow. So you say, after it, asking me if I know them, but you don't know them.
I know them like basically, but I wanted to get the wording right. You've seen iRobot, you remember?
No, I haven't.
Will
seen
Smith
iRobot.
was there. You've seen iRobot?
Is that the show with what's his name? Rami Malek, something like that?
No, that's Mr. Robot. iRobot's the 2008 movie starring Will Smith and Paul Bettany as a robot named Sonny. And they're, Isaac Asimov's 3 laws of robotics. A robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. Number 2, a robot must obey orders given to it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. And number 3, a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. So, our guy, Isaac, he's a robotic con man who's passively trying to kill his creator.
Huh?
Like, passively.
Oh, so he's a robot.
like-
Okay, got it.
Yeah, he's a robotic con man. He's passively like a Frankenstein's monster, but he's not really all that invested in it.
Oh, and his creator is the doctor?
No, the creator's somebody else.
Okay.
But it's just like it's
Because
like
you said the doctor was like Dr. Frankenstein. And then you just said this guy's like Frankenstein's monster.
Okay, they're not related.
Okay.
They're like cousins or whatever. And seeing as he has to follow all 3 laws, he has, instead of having a weapon, he has a brown note emitter. Do you know what the brown note is? No?
Is that the dog thing?
No. The brown note is a theoretical musical note that the French tried to develop during World War II in order to non-violently end the war, in which it was a frequency, like theoretically, that if you played it at just the right frequency, a human being would shit themselves. So I imagine that our Isaac has a brown note emitter, because he can't kill or hurt a human being.
Yeah.
But
But he can kill the robots, right?
Yeah.
So
And-
will he if he's fighting another robot, he turns on the craziness?
Yeah,
guns
he'll
and
just
shit.
rip its head off or whatever. He doesn't care. And he has pretensions of being cultured while being kind of like a sleazy, scumbag kind of guy. And I think the way
sleazy.
I think the way we can get around the second law, the robot must obey orders given by a human being, is that no one on the ship is technically a human being. Just Dr. Pav is a dog, and our third member of the ship, Grima, her name is Grimma, is an enormous alien warrior princess from like a distant, alien world. So she doesn't count as a human. She is an envoy of 3 small flying robots that give commentary, but not verbal commentary. It's like, they're silent. It's like a Snoopy and Woodstock sort of situation.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. It's like the non-verbal action commentary.
Yeah. She's the most physically capable of the 3. Because Dr. Pav is this weakling, scared, scary cat dog guy. And, I imagine Isaac as being a physical coward, being scared of being destroyed. And he, acts tough in front of the robot ladies, in front of the honeys, but he's not. So these two guys are just being constantly babied by this one, like babysat by this one gigantic warrior princess, who's like, I'm just trying to see the universe. So I think she's got all sorts of laser weapons, laser whip, laser sword, ceremonial knife, this sort of thing. You know, she's armed to the teeth, but not with guns because those are not honorable weapons, according to her alien culture.
Ooh.
So we just have these three interesting characters running around in space, going to various timelines and planets, and if they get into a jam, there's like a giant fleet of spaceships chasing them. They'll just throw the time dilation device in their spaceship on and travel like 1,000 years in the future and be out of the issue that they were having.
But now they're in the future and they can't go back.
Now they're in the future and they have no they have no bearings. But like I feel like Grima is like abandoned her culture to experience the universe and has like full faith that her culture will remain steadfast. Like she believes her culture is timeless, and then when she gets back, it'll be, you know,
about the same,
more or less the same, you know. Dr. Pav is like a morally corrupted, you know, evil genius, so he's all about like, you know, traveling through time and seeing more things, and Isaac's kind of disinterested and apathetic towards the rest of humanity and the greater galaxy, so he's more interested in himself, and he's just cool with going.
So you said that he's trying to kill his creator, right?
Yeah.
But if he's going in the future, like 1,000 years, how is he killing his creator?
It's just passive, you know. I haven't figured out what his creator is yet, because he can't kill a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's one of the three laws. So maybe his creator is like this enormous planet-sized, like Skynet situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or like a traveling alien force. Or maybe his creator is like, I don't know who my creator is. Or maybe it's like a long-lost civilization of robotic individuals that he comes from, but was abandoned for some reason. And he's trying to figure out why. I want to have Isaac have this like passive goal that will be brought up occasionally, but he's not all that interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you're playing a video game and there's the main story and he's just not interested in the main story at all. He does all the side quests, but eventually he'll get to it.
Oh, but it's like really, maybe every once in a while he can mention like how important it is and how like crucial his goal is. And like how like it's such a huge moment in quest that he could take, but he's like, nah, I'll just, you know, hang out with these guys.
Yeah, whatever. I got other stuff to do. So I have a couple of timelines and planets written down. Okay. I was just checking which parts of my notes are ramblings and which are not. So the one of the first ideas I had was a company planet.
So like
manufacturers. Yeah, like manufactures and distributes millions of cloned bodies to harvest organs and produce a cheap workforce.
Okay.
Like, you know, it's like this dystopian thing, but all of the people that they've been harvesting and making, like of all different alien types because it's for the entire galaxy, are just really, they're jolly. They're real happy. It's like the Lego movie style, where they're just happy with their content life. And they don't realize, because they've never known anything else, just the absolute horror of everything around them. And Isaac is he's trying to be like a revolutionary throughout the entire episode. Where he's trying to like, no, you have to rise up. And they're like, no, we're pretty good. You know, we live for like 2 years. We mine some rocks, then they take us into that room over there, and we go somewhere else. And it's nice. Presumably. So he's trying to be like a revolutionary,
but they're
taking from the great men of history, great men and women of history, like trying to inspire revolution.
So he's like giving like the same speeches as like French revolutionaries and people like that. And they're
he's like taking lines from famous, like, let them eat cake, but not cake, let them eat violence, or something. Like, he's just, like, trying and failing to be this great revolutionary leader.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the episode, he just gives up, and he's like, you know what, fuck this shit. I'm done. I'm done. You guys obviously don't want to be revolutionized or freed or whatever. I'm just gonna go. And they all leave, and then the planet just, like, explodes or something. Maybe the revolution starts as soon as he leaves.
As soon as he says, like, you know what, I'm done. Like, you guys, you don't, like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm out. And they're like, wait, but now we kind of want to know. And as he leaves, and then, like, somebody goes into, like, a library and, like, reads a book. And they're like, we need a revolution. And then they start the revolution.
Like, somebody drops the Communist... like, he's, like, reading from a bunch of books. And the Communist Manifesto falls out of his pocket.
Oh, so it's like the actual words of the original text will inspire them, but he's just so bad at it that, like,
he sucks. And he's just so uninspiring. They are like, what? No, what? The bourgeois what? Fucking shut up, man. I gotta go to work or whatever. But, like, somebody who's actually, like, invested in their cause and isn't just trying to get it to be, like, more interesting, like, picks it up and reads it, and it's like, maybe they'll time travel at the end of the episode and they'll all be talking. And we'll see through the back of the ship, like, the time travel, like, happening, and, like, fast motion of, like, a revolt coming up. And then a giant, like, they build a utopian society. It's like it all happens and they're not paying attention. It's like, you know, some people just don't want to be helped. I'm trying to help I'm trying, you know, to do something good, and some people just don't want to be helped, and there's, like, guillotining the heads of the company off.
Yeah.
Like,
you see, like, the whole revolution go through, and then the wonderful society they build and all that.
Yeah, and then, like, Dr. Pav, I feel, would be more interested in, like, the scientific workings of this planet, and he'd be going to, like, the head scientists and all this stuff, but none of them would take him seriously.
Because he's a dog,
because he's just a dog. But he'd be like, no, I'm a very intelligent scientist. And he's like, yeah, you're so intelligent, you put yourself in a dog's body and can't figure out how to get out. It's like, I'm working on it. So he, like, tries to roll with the big heads of, like, evil science, and they just kind of tell him to fuck off, so he gets, like, angry and, like, maybe helps the revolutionaries. I don't know. And I imagine Grima, her like, her plot line in this movie, in this episode, is being, like, she goes to the fighting pits of the planet, and everyone who's doing the fighting in the fighting pits is really, like, unhappy about it. And she's just like, yeah, let's go! And she's, like, super pumped about, like, murdering.
We don't want to fight.
And, like, she comes to realize, like, maybe I shouldn't be such a violent fucking lunatic all the time. Nah. Another place I have in mind is a galactic bazaar that trades in every currency and has every product, as well as being the hub for intergalactic crime.
Okay.
You know?
So yeah, like a Coruscant-ish planet. Like from Star Wars.
Coruscant, but, like, sleazier.
Okay.
I'm not thinking it's a planet. I think it's like a satellite, like an enormous satellite, or maybe it's built into a moon or a comet or something.
It's like a big space station, gotcha.
Yeah, big space station that, like, they trade in everything. They'll trade you in Roman coins from Roman times. They'll trade you in US dollars. They've got those ATM, like, currency exchange machines, but you have to, like, scroll through, like, 60 million different types of currencies.
Oh, is it because, like, is time travel, like, normal in this universe? And so, like, they're just used to people with different currencies? Or is this just because, like...
I would say time travel isn't normal, but it's not unheard of. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, people time travel. There are time travelers. But they're not, like... Sorry. They're not, like... Not everyone has time travel. It's like how in Doctor Who, time travel isn't like a everyone has it. It's just kind of like a specialty thing that people only have when it's useful for the plot of the episode or the season.
Oh, okay.
Boom.
Can you only time travel forward as well? Can other people time travel backward?
maybe like smarter people can time travel backwards, but I also imagine it would take like a lot more power to time travel backwards. Like it would take, if we're going like, it would take a AA battery to time travel forward like 6 years. It would take like a small sun to time travel backwards in six years or something.
Oh, okay.
Like it's possible. It's just really fucking hard, and it's you can't do it nearly as easily. So yeah, I imagine that's the episode that they're like they've collected wares from across the galaxy and they're trying to fence them, and like Isaac and Grima are like they make a shack, like a stand in the middle of the
galactic and they're selling their shit.
Start selling, yeah. And maybe Dr. Pav like falls off the ship, or they just don't pay attention. I'm imagining these characters as all being real bad people.
Okay.
Like it's Always Sunny level bad people. Like they don't care about each other really. They're just bad. So
they don't like notice when each other's gone, but maybe they'll notice. Be like, hey, have you seen the doctor recently? No.
No, I thought I'm pretty sure he's having sex with the dog whore.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, whatever. And he's like being chased down by people he's experimented on in the past who've like become like mob bosses or whatever.
Yeah, they're like hunting him down and they just don't even care. And like, oh, is that the doctor? Oh, he's made some new friends. That's cool. They're running around playing tag or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe the end of the episode can come with the like stall that Isaac and Grima have established and is selling wares. They're doing really well and they start getting like pressed on by organized crime families to like pay their wage. And at first they're like, okay, well we'll pay a little bit of protection money, but they have to pay protection money to every single family.
Yeah.
So by the end, they're just like, we made a profit of 7 cents today. We gotta have a better business plan. So by the end of the episode, that like Dr. Pav is being like chased, like he's been captured by one of the crime families, and that Isaac and Grima burst in and they start like demanding their money back, and then he's like, "You guys came to save me," and they were like,
"Yeah,
yeah,
that's what we're here for.
We're here for you, buddy. We got you."
And then she goes off and kills all of them, and then they just take the money and the dog and leave.
And they fuck off. But they're being chased. They get run out of town by
so they got a fast travel, or not fast travel, future, go into the future.
Or just travel. Like drive really fast. I don't know if we should use time travel in every episode, because it's kind of a get out of jail free card. So maybe it takes a while to recharge.
Maybe it's like you can make it like a situation, like how in Rick and Morty, it's like, oh, we don't want to switch realities because it's like really annoying. And they don't want to travel into the future because it's really annoying, like because they lose their bearings, they don't know like where anything is.
Like recalibrate all their things. Yeah. It's like when you switch time zones and you have to change it on your phone.
Well, it's also just like practical. Like, you don't know anything anymore. You don't know where society's at. It could be illegal to be in the type of ship you're in and just get blown up.
Yeah, you could like have a bunch of hot sauce and then travel 1,000 years in the future, and that's completely contraband or whatever. Yeah. Who knows? I only say hot sauce because I've got hot sauce right here. Got a little bottle of Tabasco I put on my eggs.
And maybe they're afraid that they'll go too far soon and like the universe will explode or like contract again. Like that's a big fear. It's like, what if we end up going too far and the universe contracts and then boom.
The universe has another contraction. 3 centimeters. It's a birth joke.
Well, I guess they could go. Like you could go too far and the universe could contract, but you could go way too far and the universe had a second Big Bang.
Yeah,
and they're in
restarts.
Like the second restart. That would be a cool plot line.
Yeah, we could do a second season.
Second season. They're like constantly worried about going too far, and then they go past the too far point.
Yeah, like Isaac leans on the time travel thing while they're all asleep, and he like powers down, and he just keeps it like held down for like 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
and you're only supposed to like flip it real quick and flip it down, to travel like 100 years, but he just keeps it held down. And they all like wake up, and the universe is just like a completely white void. They're like, fucking hell.
What happened?
What
Like
the
society's
fuck happened here?
restarting. Like it's like the first organisms are beginning to exist, and they're like, let's skip forward like a couple million years. So we got something to go to and do.
They go on a planet, and they're like, the first like thing crawls out of the ocean, and Isaac gets scared by it and like steps on it.
Oh, and they're like, the doctor like explains why that was like the terrible thing to do.
And he's like, oh yeah, well.
Damn, that really sets them back another like 4.5 billion years.
Well, that's what they get for being so gross looking right now. So
you could have like a joke where the doctor's like fascinated by it. Like, we can see the beginning of civilization, and Isaac and what's the warrior princess's name? Grima are like, yeah, but like this is kind of boring. There's something to do, you know?
Yeah.
I miss McDonald's.
You guys want to play Scrabble? Maybe the company planet is just McDonald's. McDonald's has become the only corporation.
You probably get sued for that. You got to change the name.
McDonald's.
That's
and I'll talk about one more planet.
Okay.
Would you like to hear about a water planet or a mole planet?
Ooh, mole planet.
All right. Well, there's a civilization of humans in a perpetual war with underground race of mole people. I wrote here. Oh, I thought I wrote underground race of underground mole people, but I wrote underground race of underdeveloped mole people.
Okay.
And like, I would imagine in this episode it's sort of like a Romeo and Juliet thing.
What?
Where like the way that the war ends is a mole person or a human man falls in love with a mole person woman.
Oh, okay.
But it's not like a mole person, like it's like an actual, like they look like a mole. So they've got all the like feelers on their nose, and
are they really small or are they big?
They're like people. Maybe they're bigger than people. Maybe they're like all 8 foot tall.
Okay.
And hairy. But they can communicate because Dr. Pav creates like a universal communication device for them to talk to each other. They fall in love.
That could be like a false solution at the beginning of the episode where he makes it. And he's like, yeah, you can just like, diplomacy. And then it just makes it so much worse when they're talking to each other. And then maybe the communicator gets lost because they start fighting again, and the two people find it, the Romeo and Juliet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe it's like, and the people are like, I don't know what he's saying, and then they get the translator, and it's like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and it's like, well, fuck you, and that's
what happens.
Reignites the fight, yeah. So that's the episode ideas I have for my television program. Falling Up is the title.
I like it. Like, it's a good title.
Yeah.
It's an interesting premise. I like that they can only travel forward because it makes it a bit more interesting. Because time travel, you can make it so that they can really fix any problem that they have. But this makes it so they have an out for every situation. But it's kind of a really annoying out that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
It's like a last resort.
So, thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of the Very Regional Pilot Podcast. This is our 21st episode, I believe. The podcast is now old enough to drink, which is in the United States of America, which is good for it. It's 21 now. We're not going to be giving it a car. It has to work for that.
Yeah, it hasn't got the license yet.
No, it's a fucking bomb, this podcast.
Yeah. Failed the test
podcast. This is the podcast equivalent of somebody who just sits on the couch all day.
Yeah.
It's getting stoned and eating potato chips or mangoes.
And mangoes, yeah.
You can find us on YouTube, Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. You can find Jake nowhere. He doesn't want to be found. He's like a mole man.
Okay,
He doesn't want to be found. He doesn't want to be found like a mole man.
You can also find us on Spotify.
Oh, you can find us on Spotify. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, let us know. Send me a tweet. Send Very Reasonable Pilots Podcast a tweet. Just say hello. Everything is in the description below. and we love you. And if you had to fall in love with a mole person, what kind of mole would it be?
What a question to end on.
I would be a naked mole.
Naked mole rat? Wow.
Yeah.
Somebody watched Kim Possible.
No, I watched Animal Planet
as
a child.
Okay. Well, goodbye.